Hi guys, it's Jag here from Aquascaping with Jag, and today's video I will be scaping this beautiful ADA 90p tank. And this is complete ADA setup, and one of my client asked me to design something very natural style for them. They do have a photograph in mind which was from one of the old ADA magazines, so I will share with you all that photograph soon. But what you see here is a very natural scape or natural style aquascape. And the whole point is to have a scape that is easy to maintain. And this is how it looks after planting on the day one and after filling the water. At the back, we have a lot of crypts, and it's just to make sure that the maintenance of this tank is easy. So crypts obviously they do grow fast also, but they don't need extensive trimming every 2 weeks. And also what you see here is that we have ferns, needle leaf fern. In the front we have a lot of Anubis nana petite. We will be adding some Buckeflandria. But overall, I really loved scaping this tank. As you can see, it's full of all high-tech equipments. And my client Andrew, he have a beautiful eye for the detail, and he made sure that every equipment is top notch. Even his lily pipes, they were all super clean and all ready to go. So next, let's discuss, with you all that the photograph that was shared with me. So Andrew shared this photograph, which comes from the old ADA magazine, and we wanted to create something on similar lines, but with a little bit more detail, more rocks at the bottom, so it looks more natural. And that's how I am planning to scape this tank. So to start with, Andrew, my client, will be helping me to put the initial powders, ADA powders. So first we will be adding tourmaline BC, which is actually very useful powder because it helps to improve the substrate environment, and it also have a lot of minerals such as iron, manganese, and boron part of it. And now he's using a paintbrush to just tap it and spread it nicely all over the substrate. And after that, we are adding power sand. So this is ADA power sand, medium in size, and it does help in the initial and in the longer and in maintaining the longevity of the substrate. It is always put at the bottom of the substrate, and you can cap it with a normal or a powder. And the main use of this is it provides the nutrient for quite a long time, and it also helps the substrate to not to compact easily and maintain the aeration part of the substrate. And again, using a paintbrush, he is spreading it around. And also what we're making sure is that the power sand is not close to the front of the glass and on the side. So we will leave a little bit space in the front and at the back. And here you can see we are removing all the little uh, stones that are scattered in the near the front of the glass and near the side of the glass. And what we will do here is add a powder sand or a powder soil from ADA after that. So after this, what we will do is we'll add another powder to the tank, or we will basically sprinkle it over the powder sand, and that is clear super. So clear super helps in promoting the growth of beneficial bacteria, and it also helps in improving the water quality. Now, what Andrew is doing here is he's sprinkling the clear powder over the top of powder sand, and there is recommended dose that's part of the ADA box, or the the box that comes with the clear super. You can read the instructions accordingly. Use certain number of spoons to sprinkle it on the power sand. So next powder that we will be adding is Bacter 100. So Bacter 100 is a substrate additive. It contains more than 100 kind of substrate bacteria in dormant state. So once you sprinkle it on the base substrate, it will help to make the ideal substrate environment. And also it actually prevents the green algae, or it kills the green algae if it is if it is sprayed on the base of the substrate. So it's a pretty useful powder that can be used part of the ADA substrate system. I normally don't use powders in every setup, but I think they have their own place in the hobby and they do help to establish the environment quickly. I know Andrew is a very big fan of these powders and he does get a good results. And I can see this tank has a pretty good result. It's already fully set up. Now, next substrate that we're adding is ADA powder sand. And like you can see, for the aesthetic purposes, I'm adding it in the front of the tank and on the sides. Also, because we will be growing Glossostigma plant in the front as a foreground plant, and that plant having a very tiny or thin root system, that plant do love powder sand and grows very well in the powder sand. So before adding more soil, I will be adding black cereal rock, just the base bottom rocks that will make the foundation. And the way they will be added is to create a C shape, or you can say U shape, which will basically create a very similar or on a similar style that you've seen in the photograph in the magazine. And next, what I'm gonna do is here add all some little stones, and then I will glue them. So I will glue the base stones in position with the other stones using the Jag Aquatics glue and a tissue paper. So what I'm making sure is that the base structure is ready, and then after that I will start building on top of it with the driftwood. So here you can see me adding small rocks. So the way I'm adding is the little bit flatter and the wider pieces in the front to create a big impression, and as we go back the smaller pieces will be added again to build the height and the depth. So you can see straight away by putting four different pieces we can have quite a good detail. And why that detail is possible, because the black cereal rocks already have a very nice texture to it, a lot of curves, a lot of grooves, and it makes it look natural straight away. So I have chosen and picked up the right rocks for this job, and that's what you can do. If you want to create your scape, you can send me an idea or you can contact me on viroaquatics.com.au. What I will do is, according to your idea, I can pick and choose certain pieces, share with you, and that will make your life easy. And we don't charge anything extra for that. So next, what I'm doing is adding the left side of the tree. So I know in the photograph we see just the end roots, but here what I'm trying to do is create a create a better looking trunk. And I think when in those times, or when few years back, when whole this natural aquarium concept was developed by father of nature, Mr. Takashi Amano. At that time, the focus was more on plants, and which I still like. The focus more on plants, but I think the way the aquascaping hobby evolved, what I've learned is that you try to create more natural scene, more detail, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to create a more natural looking trunk system and which can integrate to the rocks, and that's how this left piece was created. And I have cut and chopped a lot of driftwood to come up with this shape, and you can see how left one is basically going towards the left and top, and that's what I will try to do with the right piece that I am putting it there. But again, in the middle I'm trying to create a space which will help us to create the depth going towards the back of the glass or back of the tank. So here you can see that I have kind of got the position right for this driftwood, but because there is no support at the back, I'm not able to, put it in right position. I can glue it on the base, but I think what I'm thinking is the best would be that I have a bigger piece of rock at the back. So this small rock is just to position it to see the angle. So I'm really liking this angle, but what I'm thinking next is that I can put a big piece of cereal rock at the back, which will not only help to support this driftwood, but it will also help to create that depth. Because to create a depth, you will need to raise the back. And here I am adding a large piece of cereal rock. And again, you can see, it looks like the tank is going tank is increasing in height as we go back, and depth is getting built. So this big piece, I will glue it using Jag Aquatics glue. So what I will do is I'm going to add a little piece of tissue there, like you can see between those two rocks, and then I will use the Jag Aquatics Aquascaping glue. It will take only a few seconds, like I've shown in many of my videos. This is the method that I use always to stick these two rocks together. So if you're not gonna move this scape, or you're gonna not gonna pick up the whole scape and move it into a different tank in a few months' time, the glue is the best way. And if you really want to make your whole scape come together, and because you want to move it after a few months or few years, then you can use epoxy or cement, those kind of things. So here you can see I am adding that second piece again, and now it can be easily supported by the large rock. And what I will also do is attach it to the rock using the same method of glue and tissue. So now this piece is pretty much in position. I will glue it later on because it's pretty well supported. What I want to do next is the left side. I want to extend it and add more detail, with adding a little driftwood at the back. And again, I made sure that it's thin, so it looks like it's in the distance. And also I'm extending the left side. Again, you can see me using a tissue, and I just cut one long branch of a driftwood and attaching to the main tree using tissue and the glue. And once it's attached, you will see that it creates a very nice long structure, because I do feel that left tree still needs a little bit of extension so that it looks in proportion to the whole tank. And what you will see here in a couple of seconds, that the left side looks much better than what it was before. So here you can see that the left side looks much better compared to before, and also the thickness of the driftwood in the front and the second branch that I added is quite different, which makes it go deeper. Also, I added a little rock in the middle, again to lift the height as I go back, and I will be adding some driftwood in the middle also. Again, I'm just trying to build more detail and bulk, but trying to use different thickness of the driftwood so that it all looks that it's going further away than it really is. And that's the main trick that you can utilize so that your tank has a very nice depth. And to create more detail on the right side, so left side, you see it looks kind of, the main structure looks pretty good. Now I'm trying to do same thing on the right side. So using this driftwood, I'm gonna expand it more so that it looks much wider, and again more proportional towards the more proportional in comparison to the size of the tank. So here again, I'm gluing this piece of wood using same technique with glue and tissue. And once it's joined, you will see that the scape is looking more proportional compared to the size of the tank. And then later on, I will start adding more and more detail in the scape. So you can see here that overall, the main structure is kind of there, but still a lot of more driftwood and stones needed to be added in the scape to make it look more natural. So next, what I will do, I will add some small little rocks and little branches everywhere. So you can see, again, I'm trying to build more detail, and the rocks that I'm using is much smaller so that detail can be represented really nice. If you use a big chunky rocks, it will not look as good as the small ones. Yes, you can use big rocks like we used initially if they have a lot of texture. And by looking at it, you will know that if it has a lot of texture, you can place them also. And also, I will be adding very thin little driftwoods everywhere. Again, I'm looking at the right position where this driftwood looks nice, and accordingly, I will stick them using the glue. And I will do this process throughout the scape now to build more detail. So after adding all the detail with small rocks, I want to add a little bit more soil here just to cap up everything around those rocks. So here you can see I am very carefully adding a soil around those small rocks, and I will push them around the edges of the rocks under the driftwood. So it's very neat and clean there. And after that, we will again add another level of detail using very small rocks and very small branches. So we have added all the soil around the rock. So now I have very small pieces of some old cereal rocks that Andrew, my client, have. So I'm using them, and I will be adding them to the front of the scape. And because it's for detailing, yes, their color is not exactly as vibrant as the black cereal rocks, but it's still good enough to create the detail. And once the water is in, we will not even see that. Plus, there are a lot of Pachyphlandria, some rhizomes like Anobis nanaperi. Those kind of plants will be stick on these rocks. So at the end of the day, they will blend really nice with the main scape. And also here you can see at the back, if you see carefully, I have added a lot more soil at the back to lift up all the backside where we will be planting different types of crepes. And in future, if we need to plant stem plants, they can be also there. But behind this scape, we have planned. I have discussed with the client that we will add more crypts to give a natural look. And also in the photograph, if you've seen that there are a lot of ferns they use, a lot of crypts they use. So we are picking that element from that photograph to create a similar style. And I think that will look really nice if we add crypts. And also needle leaf java fern will be added on the branches plus the moss. So do watch this video till the end because initial planting is also done, part of the video. So I have added most of the detail using small rocks and some big ones in the front. And you can see here I'm adding a very small piece of branches in between the rocks, again creating a next level of detail. And that will give it a really natural look when you add these small twigs or small branches. And kind of the way you add is they look as a part of the rock and they don't just stand out. And after that, again, I'm adding small pieces of rocks just to give a whole natural look to this scape. So next step is to attach the mini Christmas moss. So on the bottom part of the driftwoods, I will be attaching it, and I'm using Jag Aquatics glue to put a little bit glue on the driftwood and then attach the mini Christmas moss. That's the easiest method. Yes, you can use a cotton thread or a fish line to do it, but I find this is the easiest method and it's pretty quick. And after attaching all the moss, we will be filling up this tank and then do all the planting. So now we are filling up the tank, and it's a master soil, and I can tell you it's the most clean soil that I've used in the hobby after black earth and that I used to use before. And we are filling the water really slow, and it's pretty clean. Water will be super clean, and you will see after planting all the crypts in the background and attaching few of the other plants, you will see that the tank still looks pretty clean. What I'm doing while the water is getting filled, I am dividing the glossostigma and cutting all the small plantlets and then putting in the soil. And you can see because we use the ADA powder sand in the front, It's very easy to plant them using tweezers. So you do need tweezers. It's really hard to plant with your fingers. So you need very sharp tweezers, and slowly add the plant in the soil. And it's really easy to plant it with tweezers. So next I will be attaching micro Java ferns. So what I have done is the clumps of micro Java ferns I have attached to the stones up front, and then after that I am just adding those stones in this scape. So you can see very easily, if you have attached the plants on a rock, you can easily place it wherever it's required. And what I'm trying to do is that the micro Java fern, or the small one, will be at the base, and the trident Java fern or some needle Java fern, which is mixed, will be part of the tree on the top. Most of them is trident Java fern, and we will use that on the top. And once they grow, they bulk up, they will look really nice and lush at the top part of the tree. And also, because micro Java fern is a bit thicker leaves, so I have placed them in the front base, and the thinner leaves, so that it again creates that depth, the sense of depth using plants. I have placed it on the top and at the back. So next I will be planting all the crypts, and we have a different colors and collection of crypts there. All are in tissue culture. Some are green, some are dark, and the whole vision there is the back hill will be all full of crypts, and once they grow, they will gain that height and cover pretty much all the background of this tank. And also because they have different colors, different shapes, so different shades will come and make it all look really nice and natural. Also, what I have done is that I have attached some Nubis Nana Petite on the rocks, and I will be adding those rocks in the front of the scape, and I have just attached it with a glue on the rocks and placed it in the front. And you will see soon I'm placing all those stones there, and pretty much that will be the final look after filling the water. And you can see water is really clean. There is very less, uh, you know, murkiness or the milkiness in the water, and it will clear even further, as you see. So this is the final result, and I'm really happy with how it looks even after setting up. And I really hope you guys, enjoyed this video and like the final look. So if you look at a hardscape again, you can see the way the height is built at the back. The whole composition was made so that it's easy maintenance into future, and also the whole scape look very natural. And the plants that we use throughout is all low maintenance, except I would say Glossa will need little bit of maintenance or trimming. Otherwise, it can rot at the bottom if it gets really thick. But overall, I'm really impressed, how this scape turned out. And Andrew, the client, was really happy. And I, just can hope that this will be his scape for next couple of years. Guys, if you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, please do put it in the comment section, and I will reply as soon as possible. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will be back with a new video on aquascaping very soon. Happy New Year and take care. I will see you guys soon. Bye.